So let's talk about projects in Inventor. Inventor is going to differ from some softwares as it likes to keep track of the files that you're going to use within, well, for no better term, a project. If you are building an assembly, say you're going to have various things within that assembly. You're obviously going to have parts. You may have drawings sent in from other people, sketches that you're going to have to incorporate into your assembly. As you create your assembly, you may generate renderings, you may be doing presentation files, and of course you're going to have drawing sheets. So within a project, you are going to have several categories of things. I would not generally just recommend having a folder where everything Inventor gets thrown into it. You really need to have good data management to make your workflows go very smoothly. Not only that, if you are not that experienced with Inventor and you tried to create assemblies through a trial and error method, you may have gotten a warning like that part is not in the project folder. Do you want to add it to the project folder? Inventor really likes to keep things in a central repository so that it knows where to look for them. That is one reason why you can't just hand off an assembly to someone and expect them to be able to open an Inventor assembly, because the individual parts are not contained within that assembly file. That assembly file basically only contains the instructions of how to put that model together. So we're going to go through a quick assembly here, and I'll give you some pointers on things that I find useful in creating a project file. And unless you're creating your projects within Vault, and then Vault of course will have its own methods of keeping track of all your different parts and assemblies and sub-assemblies and so forth, then this is a method that I think you may find helpful. So let's go ahead to our Inventor and let's see if we can create a new project. And you'll see I am in the project part here. If you just go to projects, click that on, and you say that you want a new project. We're going to go ahead with the single user project. Then they're going to ask you for a project name and where is it located. Now, we're going to talk about locating a project maybe in a central server area so that other people can access it. And if I do that, I have a project drive. You could have a drive mapped on there specifically for projects. But what I keep is a sample project folder that has subfolders within it which make things easier to keep track of. Okay? So within here you'll see that I have folders for assemblies, for AutoCAD drawings that I may need to reference, my output drawing sheets, DWFs that I need to send out to people who do not have the Autodesk software, a folder for parts, so on and so forth, even rendered images. Everybody's going to have different requirements. These are the ones that I typically need. So what I do is I go ahead and I copy that folder, and then I just drop a copy of it in here. And then what I do is I rename it. And now I will have all the folders that I need within here. Okay? So now when I create my folder, I will give it a name. And I will change the location of the project into this drive that I am dedicating strictly for my projects. And I'm going to go down in here and I'm going to find the folder that I just created for the XYZ company. And this is where I'm going to go ahead and drop it in. So now you're going to see a location of where this project file is going to be created. And if I have any other libraries that I need to add, I'm going to add them in at this time too. So if you have a library of parts, something that's located in another area, you want to add that in right now as well. Okay? Then once you do that, you can go ahead and finish it, and you will see that this project appears here. Now we're working on there. For style library, you generally want to make that read or write. so that you can have customized settings on your drawing sheets. If you're going to have anything, any other different appearance libraries, you're going to want to add those in right now. Okay, the same things with material libraries. You can also add in additional workspaces as you're working here as well. Okay, so after you've done that, then you can go ahead and select Done. If you have anything else that you need to configure, then you could configure those at this time as well. And then if you have any other libraries that you want to create, custom libraries, now would be the time to go ahead and do that. So whenever you do go ahead and create a part or whatever, then you could, let's just go ahead and create a sample part. And once I create a part, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save it to a specific part folder. And keeping your parts in one folder, assemblies in another, so on and so forth, that can really be to an advantage whenever you're keeping track of everything in Inventor. So if I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have a part here, let's see if we can go ahead and show these primitives here, and we'll just put a simple box here. And we'll keep this very simple. And we'll consider this our part. And we'll do a save as on it. But I don't want to put it just in the XYZ project. I want to put it in a specific part folder. So I will say let's put this in parts. And then you can see, are we dealing with content center parts here? Are we dealing with in-house created parts? I'm going to say that this is an in-house created part. And now I'll say save. So then if I go in and I create an assembly, excuse me, now I can go ahead and place the parts. I will say that I want to place that from the part folder from my in-house parts. I will open up the cube. I will drop one at the origin. And then I will place another one here. And then we'll go ahead and just constrain a couple of these things. And let's just give it just some general constraints just so that we can alright, and we'll say that this will be our assembly. So when we save that as, we'll go to the assemblies folder and we will save that in there. So now that kind of gives you a general idea of how you want to keep track of all your folders and keep things separated at the same time. Now, another good practice to utilize when doing this, if you have to build something within your assembly, this is what we call top-down assembly making. It is best, if you at all possible, if you can create your parts within your assembly. It does save on assembly time, and it also eliminates a few errors. Let's just say that we're going to create a part in here. We're going to say that we're going to create a cylinder. And the file location for this part, we're going to put it in the parts. Okay, we don't want that just to be in the assemblies. We want to put that in the parts. In-house created parts. Okay, that's all good. You can define if it has a specific bill of material structure here, whether it's purchased or inseparable or whatever. We'll go ahead and consider it inseparable for this one. Then it's going to ask me what sketch plane. Well, I'm going to put that right there, okay? And now I can either start a primitive or a 2D sketch. I'll just put that right there. And now I have a cylinder that is built into my project. And whenever I go back to my assembly, now I have this part here. And if you notice, I have a part right here, and I have this part, and this little circle right here is telling me that this part is referenced off of one of the parts in the assembly already. You can see it also has a couple of implied constraints here as well. Okay, so that's a simple way of building in parts. And then if I notice, if I want to go in and let's say I need to place something else, then I can place it from, I can place in another cube, but I do have my cylinder made here already. Okay, and I can even open it up in its own window. So I hope that gives you some ideas on how to organize your drawing and keep things together and keep them kind of separate. And you'll see a good workflow of keeping things separate and in order will prevent a lot of problems in the future. All right, hope that helps.